Hi guys, my story today serves as an example of why you should not just trust somebody because of the kind of outfit they are wearing or the kind of lifestyle they choose to live. In this story, you will see that any human being can be a serial killer. Any human being can be a serial killer. Not all, but any can be. Just because you're wearing a habit, you're covered, doesn't mean that you're not prone to some vices. For those of you who are here for the first time, my name is Catherine and I tell true stories. My today's story takes us all the way to Belgium. All the way to Belgium in a convent called the Congregation of St. Joseph's. The Congregation of St. Joseph in Flanders. A convent, for those of you who are not Catholics, is a place where ladies choose to live celibacy, obedience, and poverty. They leave the world to go and serve God and pray for others and deny themselves of any worldly things. This is now called a convent, and this girl by the name of Cecile Bondek, at the age of 15, decided to join this congregation of Holy Joseph in Flanders. Cecile, at a very young age, used to go to church with her parents and used to admire the lifestyle of these nuns. You know, wearing white veils and the way they walk so piously into the church. No makeup, no lipstick, simple, humble looking, and they will sit in one corner or on their own, as if they mix with the other congregation, they will be stained. Cecile Bondek wanted to join these sisters. A disclaimer: not all sisters are like the demonic sister that I'm going to tell you about. So for those of you who are here for the first time, my name is Catherine and I tell true stories. So at the age of 15, Bondik joined the nuns. She went to the convent at the age of 15, and she grew in the life of piety that is very prayerful, holy, her virtues were so outstanding that by the time she was in her in her midlife, she was already a mother superior. A mother superior is like the director of a convent where these holier than thou nuns stay. And so that was her position now. She had taken up the name Sister Godfrida. Sister Godfrida of Holy Joseph. Normally when the nuns take up become full nuns, they take up a new name, something of the sort. So she had taken up Sister Godfrida, and she was assigned to work with the old people. Yeah, she was to work with the old people in the old people's homes in Flanders. She was attending to the sick old people most of the time. However, Sister Godfrida had a brain tumor that had to be done a surgery on. which was successful. Her surgery was successful. But they say that if the surgery is not successful, a person is prone to behavioral changes. And she knew this. So Sister Godfrida, personality changed after her brain surgery. She now began lesbianic behavior towards other nuns. And since she was a mother superior, she would threaten them should they refuse her advances. You can imagine, in a convent, in a veil, and you are carrying out the lesbianic acts to your juniors, to your postulants and aspirants. These are the people who are not fully nuns, they're just new, and since you're in charge, you can do anything to them. And since they're so desperate because they really admire this lifestyle, they cannot escape. Number 2, she got an addiction to morphine, which she had been given to reduce the pain during her healing after the surgery. But she got an addiction to it. As if that is not enough, she added cocaine. Can you imagine? Cocaine in a convent. These things that you find at the back of the streets in the slums. Cocaine in a convent in Flanders, Belgium. This cocaine behavior and morphine made her look for lovers. She had a retired missionary as a lover who will finance her desires, her cravings for cocaine and morphine, and some retired teacher also. She was looking for people who had a lot of money, and she was having romantic affairs with them so that she will get the money to finance her cravings for morphine and cocaine, her addiction for morphine and cocaine. All this time she was in a veil. You imagine walking into a Mother Superior's office, maybe you need some direction or something, some counseling, and you find her sniffing, and maybe puts it away faster so that you don't see, or probably doesn't even care because she is a Mother Superior anyway. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Mark, a nun takes the vow of chastity. That is, you're not gonna have any romantic relationship. No. And there she was with lovers, a teacher, a retired missionary, retired, or I don't know what congregation he belonged to, but she had some sort of missionary, maybe an excommunicated missionary of some sort. So he was the one providing her with the money for her addiction, so she had to keep up these relations. She was known to torture the age that she knew had a lot of property, and will force them to write the wills that will include her so that she gets the money that she needed. And she will kill them so that she gets it as fast as possible. Her main method of killing was induction of insulin into diabetic patients, an overdose of insulin into diabetic patients that will cause them to go into a coma and finally death. As it can be reversed, but since she was the one attending to them, she was murdering them. And that was her method. It is said that she did this to 3 patients. And even those who are not suffering from diabetes, if she wanted money from them, she will inject them with an overdose of insulin, and they will go into a coma and finally death. She was only tried for 3 crimes, but the nuns who worked with her say that she committed more than 30 deaths. Out of the 31 patients that she was attending to, 21 died under her care under suspicious circumstances, because the other 3 nuns who knew her, who were working with her, knew that these patients will survive, but they were dying mysteriously, especially the rich old ones, so that she will be included on their will, and immediately they will die as soon as they've signed the first will. You imagine, sign the will. This time it's not a gun. It is an injection of morphine. Sign it or you die now. So what do? You sign it, but still, a few minutes later, you will go into a coma. And she made sure she's the one manning the ward during the time that you are dying. Something of the sort. She will pull out catheters. A catheter, normally they inject it in a vein so that it moves something, I don't know what, some fluids move through a catheter. But when the catheter is removed, it's usually very painful. When a catheter is removed even slowly, it is very painful. Now imagine she was ripping off the catheters as a form of torture. This was a demon in a convent. I mean, what will make you do that in a place that is deemed as holy? What if it's not a demon in you? I don't know why these nuns never thought of asking for a possession to be carried out for this Sister Godfrida, but they witnessed all these crimes that were happening. They were suspicious, and they were seeing her behavior, morphine, all cocaine in a convent. All this time she was doing these things. She was in a veil. Or do they call it a habit? I don't know. It was a veil she was wearing, of course, the way the nuns dress, and then you're carrying out all these things. And when she is going to put her insulin into an overdose of insulin to the elderly rich patients, she will walk so piously to the ward. Ding, 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 ding. You can imagine. All these things were happening. And she will give corporal punishment to the other nuns. You imagine, you're a nun wearing a veil and you're being given corporal punishment by your mother superior. Boom! Boom! Corporal punishment in a convent. This was a comedy, a series, and all sorts of evil that you can think of. 3 nuns reported her to the police and they did an investigation, but she could not be apprehended. Reason: she was found to be mentally sick. Let's hope that she was mentally sick because of the brain surgery that she had. But I'm going to tell you more stories in my next video about those ones that did not even have any surgery on the brain. but committed worse crimes in a convent than her. Instead of being taken to prison, she was taken to a psychiatrist center and died at the age of 86. Actually, she died in 2019, not so far away. So if anyone had wanted to see this kind of women, you could have just gone to Belgium and just find out who is Sister Godfrida, the murderer of the elderly. So a movie came out, The Killer Nun, just because of her. You can imagine, you are so bad until they create a movie in your name, The Killer Nun. But in this case, the killer was Gertrude. Sister Gertrude was the name they used instead of Sister Godfrida, just to respect her a bit, because I think the movie came out when she was still alive. It was pathetic. So it was a movie about a mother superior who introduced lesbianism in her convent, committed serial murders in her convent, things like that. So for the next video, I will tell you more about more nuns who committed more heinous crimes than even this one. But I don't think there is a more heinous crime than another. It's all about murder and the acts that they commit. So if you like my content, like, share, and subscribe. Ciao.